Welcome to another Birdie Train podcast. It's Masters Week, so we thought we'd go through the top of the betting and pick out any odds that we like. I'm quickly going to share an Excel sheet after we received some positive feedback on it from our podcast last time. And so we have at the top of the betting, we have DJ, Bryson, Rahm, Thomas, and we have Spieth after him winning this week. So I think what's the best thing to do, Kev, is if we group these five together and sort of go through each of them and discuss why or why we don't like any of these. Maybe start with Spieth and touch on last week as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it was great. Spieth, he's one of my favourite players, to be honest. So it was nice to see him sort of get back into the winning circle yesterday. 12-1 for the Masters, though. I'm not convinced, considering the bloke probably wasn't even in the reckoning 6 months ago when he played. I don't know where he came. I mean, 46th last time out, and it kind of just felt a week he was holding on to his game constantly. He did play quite well down the stretch yesterday, but I'm not sure about 12-1. He just felt like he was just hanging on constantly. He was holding a lot of putts. I know that's kind of his game, but whether he can kind of sustain that over another 4 days at Augusta, I'd be very surprised. I think 12-1's a very, very short price on him, but obviously he's got form there. Probably should have won there twice already. But no, not 12-1 this week. Not for me. But no, definitely good to see him. Good to see him back in some form there.
Yeah, I think we obviously know that he plays well at Augusta. He played, and he's whenever he's been playing well going into the Masters, he's always played well. So his record, I know on this spreadsheet here, it shows that his last two Masters finishes have been 46th and 21st, but the four before that, I think he didn't come outside the top 11 or something like that.
Yeah, he loves it. I mean, his Masters always throws up similar names at the top of the field. Even if players don't win, like Westwoods and the Caseys, they're always there. It always kind of seems, if they kind of make it through the cut or kind of make it to the Masters anyway, they always seem to kind of turn up and perform. So no, I mean, it's definitely kind of a horses for courses type of venue, but I don't know how much you watched it. He just very much was kind of holding on to the driver constantly. It was going left, it was missing right. He was just kind of doing speed stuff where he's holding 10 footers for fun kind of in the last few holes, and a few of them are missed. I think Hoffman probably would have nipped him to it. So yeah, I mean, 12-1 when you look at kind of the other quality that's up there, I'm not sure it's that good of a price, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if he did kind of end up winning. But no, I don't think he was playing well enough last week to kind of justify that this week.
Yeah. So I think we should probably just touch on as well what's the data that is in the spreadsheet. So the first column is their odds, their highest odds that you can get. Golf World Ranking is the next column, then the form for the last 5 weeks, then the Masters form for their last 3 starts, and then their strokes gained off the tee, approach, around the green and putting, and their strokes gained total for over their last 50 rounds. So obviously the numbers sort of back you up there, Kev. 122nd off the tee, that's worst ranked player out of these 21 players that we've got here. I think one thing that sort of helps him is that players that play well at Augusta don't tend to be the most accurate drivers. If you have a look, Cam Smith is second and fifth in 2 of his last 3 starts. He's 96th off the tee here. Westwood also plays well, as you just mentioned, at Augusta, 88th, and Hideki is a bit of a course specialist as well, and those are the 4 lowest ranked drivers of the ball of these 21 that we have here. So I think it's a bit forgiving if you're not as accurate. Maybe I think you need to be long, which I think is one of the key categories, and obviously a lot of the players at the top of the field are the longest players in the world.
So I think that to an extent, but I don't think you can't play Augusta not from the fairways. You can probably have a good week, top 20, top 10 maybe, but you're not going to win it if you're not hitting fairways around there, because you're not going to be able to access the greens. You're going to get yourself into trouble, and that's where you're going to get big numbers from, and that's kind of what the Masters is about, is keeping the doubles, keeping the trebles off your cards. And if you're not hitting the ball dead straight, we saw it with Bryson last year. He was fancied. He couldn't keep the ball on the fairways. He was a long way down there, but it just wasn't in play. And Spieth, is a bit like that to a sense, in terms of if the driver's not behaving itself, it can be 30, 40 yards offline, and it's not as far down there. So I mean, if he has a good driving week, I think he'll be right in it. But the way he was driving the ball this week, I'm not convinced at all.
Yeah, I personally think that, I mean, I agree with you on the fact that 12-1 seems short.
Yeah.
But I really wouldn't be surprised to see him like go really close.
No, I wouldn't be surprised. I just think 12-1 for the chances of that happening. I'd want 20, 25, something like that. Then I'd be backing it 100%. But 12-1, when the guy is just kind of played himself back into form, I think winning for the first time in 3-4 years will take a lot out of him again. And to win back to back as well after kind of not winning for that long. I would be surprised to see him win, but he could very well.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think it could take quite a lot out of him, and also the world ranking there, as you say, 38th. That's the lowest of any of these players that we've got here. So, yeah, he's only just come back into form, so it would be a big ask. But yeah, he's in good form, so it wouldn't be too much surprise. DJ, Bryson, Rahm, and Thomas. Let's start with DJ. Best player in the world. It's 9-1. He obviously, when he won the Masters in November, he was just playing lights out. He hasn't played so well his last 3 starts: 28th, 48th, and 54th. And obviously, he's won in his last 5 in Saudi Arabia. And he's got a good record at the Masters. He's only been beaten by Tiger in the last 2 years. So, I mean, 9-1 still seems short, but I mean, yeah, I wouldn't like laugh at anyone backing DJ at that price, because he just is still, in my opinion, the best player in the world at the moment, and probably has the most chance of winning.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as ridiculous as the kind of 8-7-1 on Bryson before last year's Masters. I think 9-1's a fair price to him. As I said, he's the best player in the world. But yeah, I wouldn't be backing it at 9-1 after the way he's played, really kind of from winning in Saudi. He just hasn't looked the player he looked when he won the Masters in the last kind of month or so. But you know, DJ is one of those players that it doesn't really kind of matter how he's playing. If he's on it that week, he'll probably win it. But 9-1, I think it's quite short when you kind of look at the other prices. You know, probably the Brysons, the Thomases are playing better than him at the moment. I'd probably fancy more one of them to sort of turn up this week and win than DJ.
Yeah. So yeah, as you just mentioned, Bryson 11-1. I don't think he's ever finished in the top 25 here. Maybe the top 20, but I'm not sure Augusta suits his game. He has never putted here that well. Obviously, as we mentioned last time, you don't get a green book, so it's less mechanical. It's much more about the feel, which I think is hindered his putting somewhat. And he can't take as aggressive lines because the trees are a lot taller. So he can't, I don't think, gain as much from cutting trees, because he just can't do it. So and then his irons, we know, as the strokes gained approach tell you there, 58th is for these top players here. So again, I know he's in great form, but I probably wouldn't back Bryson at 11. I just don't think the course suits him, and I'm happy to wait until I'm proven wrong on that.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think that greens book for him is something that is quite a big deal. Compared to everyone else, you kind of see him when he's over 5 foot, 7 foot putts. He's literally constantly looking at it. He's not even looking at the putt. So I think that's a major factor for him. As you said, I think irons are the biggest thing when it comes to Augusta. You think of winners, they're all good ball strikers with their irons, and they're hitting the ball close. It's not really Bryson's game. So no, yeah, 11-1. I mean, if he's playing well and he looks good in play, I'd probably back him. But from the start, I believe in that well alone.
Yeah, cool. And then Rahm 12-1. So Rahm just had a baby actually, and Danny Willett just the year Danny Willett won, he had a baby the week before. So that could be an interesting side to take. He's got the most top 10s on the PGA Tour this year. He's obviously the 3rd ranked player in the world. he's got a really solid game off the tees, third, eighth approach, and his record in the last 3 years at Augusta is probably as good as anyone bar DJ. So, I mean, I did a little bit of research from Rahm this week, and his biggest 2 wins came at the BA Memorial, and both of those tournaments played really, really difficult. I think the winning score was less than 5 under each time, and there certainly weren't many players under par at all. Has obviously won quite a few times where it's been slightly easier, but I don't think his game sets him up to win at a big tournament at a relatively easy course. So I think if it's going to play quite easy, then I would probably leave Rahm alone. But I think if the win is going to be 7, 8 under, which it has been quite a few times, I think Danny Willett won at 5 under. I think Sergio won at 8 maybe. Yeah. If it's playing like that this week, then I definitely consider Rahm at 12s, and obviously we backed him in November, thinking that it was going to be slightly harder. But then if after 2 days someone's already at 10 under and the winning score is going to be 15 or even close to 20, which is what DJ posted last year, then I think I'd probably want to stay away from Rahm if you were betting him in play. So as of now, I'm not too sure. I think it's meant to be warm up until Friday, raining on Friday, and then warm again Saturday, Sunday. I'm not sure. I have a feeling that they might set the course up quite difficult after what DJ did last time and shooting the course record for the tournament. And if that's the case, then I'd definitely look at Rahm at 12s, because I think he's been the most consistent player this year pretty much. But yeah, if not, then I'd be tempted to leave him alone at 12s.
Yeah, I mean, I feel Rahm out of all those favourites, if you're going to back someone from the start, he's going to give you the best run. Out of all of them, he's going to give you I'm not saying he's got the best chance of winning, but he's certainly probably got the best chance of kind of being there on Sunday, if that makes sense. He's always there. You look at his form recently, 5th, 9th, and then Masters form 7th, 9th, 4th. If you want someone out of the favourites to kind of give you a run from Thursday to Sunday, I think Rahm probably is that player. He's not likely to blow up. He will kind of just consistently be there. But as you said, I think that he should have gone closer last year in November. He blew up massively on the Saturday and kind of just let DJ kind of run away with it. But no, I mean, I'm 12 to 1. I think him and Thomas out of the favourites are probably the two value, in my opinion. I think DJ's probably still my favourite, but I think Rahm at 12 to 1 is quite a fair price, and I'd probably be backing that from the off, I think.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I agree with you, and we sort of move on to Thomas from that. I think Rahm and Thomas are probably the fairest prices out of this top 5. Thomas obviously ranked 2nd in the world. He won at the Players in the second last start, and he's been playing pretty well all year. His form is just constantly improving at Augusta, and he came 4th in November. So and he's a great iron player, 3rd in total strokes gained approach for his last 50 rounds of anyone, and he's good around the green as well. I really think that Thomas could win this week. I think also that to win these tournaments, unless you're like a DJ or a Rory, really an informed Rory, you just need to get hot, and Thomas can definitely do that. You've seen him win tournaments by quite a few shots numerous times, and he's obviously won quite a few big tournaments now. I think Thomas is, out of these top players, is probably one of the best candidates to do that. So yeah, we obviously had Thomas at the Players, and I agree with you. It'd be Thomas or Rahm as my favourite too out of these top 5.
Yeah, I mean, what I quite like about Thomas, you look at his form at the Masters as well, with 17th, 12th, 4th. He's gradually kind of getting better, and you clearly understand in Augusta more and more every time he plays it. He's in good form at the moment. So yeah, Thomas is another one from the off out of all the favourites. That's another one I potentially would be looking at to back as well.
Cool. So probably Rahm and Thomas out of those top 5. Then we move on to Rory. hasn't been playing that as well of late. He hasn't been as bad as people are saying. I think he's just changed his coach. You might be able to touch a bit more on that. But obviously he's behind Bryson. He's probably the longest player on tour. Consistently, his approach game hasn't been as good recently, which has been what's been letting him down. He hasn't been making as many birdies as he was when he was golf, and then he's never been had such a good short game. So his driving's giving him chances, but he's sort of not taking them. So I mean, 18 seems a big price. I can't remember, as we sort of spoken about. I can't remember him being 18 for the Masters for a long time. So it's tempting, and I'll definitely think about it. But when it comes to it, I probably will leave it because, when did he last win? Maybe 2019.
Maybe in China for HSBC WGC one, maybe something around there. Might have been with the Players, not too sure. But yeah, 2019.
End of 2019, maybe. Yeah.
Nearly.
Canadian Open, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So he's coming up to 2 years, which is too long for a player like him.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, 18-1 on Rory. I don't think he's probably been that price for 10 years before the off. So it's definitely tempting. And I don't think he's playing as you kind of said as bad as people are thinking. Probably that the match play is kind of redundant in terms of the last form, so you can kind of remove that. Obviously miscut before, but 10th and 6th 2 rounds before, it's not bad. And he's always like the Masters. That the course definitely suits him. So I mean, 18-1 for him, it's very much just if he can get them, if they get the wedges dialed in for him, he'll constantly give himself chances, but he'll constantly miss the wedges. It will be long, it will be short, it will be left, it will be right. It's never kind of on it. If he can get the wedges going, then 18-1 be a big price, and he'll probably be there. But yeah, I mean, as you said, when it comes down to it, I just don't think he's got it at the moment. I'd like to see him win before I think he wins another major. I mean, the last major is not for nearly 5-6 years now, I think. So yeah, I'd be very surprised if he can come back and just kind of won his Grand Slam straight away. He's always a bit more pressure on him at the Masters as well because of that as well. But yeah, 18-1 is a pretty good price. I would back it, but out of all of them, I think it's probably a waste of money from the off. If he looks good kind of on Thursday, it'd be something I'd look at. But at the end of it, I don't probably think he's playing well enough to win. But I wouldn't surprise me to see him contend though.
Yeah, I think we're agreed on that. Xander, Cantlay, Brooks. Let's do those 3. Favorite out of those 3, Kev?
Did you say Brooks as well?
Yeah, I did say Brooks.
Surprisingly, I'd probably say Cantlay out of the 3 of them. Usually would be Brooks, but I think he's injured. I think he was meant to, be out for kind of 6 months, I think his physio said, and I think he's probably forced himself to play this week. So yeah, I'd be surprised if he's fit, then 25-1's a very big price on him. But I don't think he is. So I'd be surprised to kind of see him contend. But Cantlay, I think he's probably playing maybe the best out of any of them. I know it kind of says 18th miscut there in terms of form, but the 18th is at the match play. He was, I don't know what the sort of kind of scorecard said at the end of it, but I know he was playing kind of the best golf in that group match, and he kind of just had a bad 9 holes which let him down. Miscut the players, but before that he was playing some really good golf as well. A third and a second in there as well, which is obviously quite impressive. And yet again at the Masters, he's performed well recently as well. So remember he contended kind of when Tiger won, and kind of just fell away at the end. So yeah, I think he's at 22-1 a pretty good bet. X yet again just not a big enough price for someone who's won as little as he has. Not in great form either. But yeah, so I think can't lay out those 3 for me.
Yeah, I think I agree as well. Brooks, is a shame he got injured because he was just coming to form. Obviously, won at the Waste Management, then came second when Morikawa won at the WGC, I think. Yeah, and then he got injured. So yeah, I mean, if he hadn't have got injured, he'd probably be in that group, in that top group, with around 12-1.
Yeah. If he's fit, it's a massive price. I mean, if he's out and playing well on Thursday, then I'll 100% be on. But yeah, I mean, for someone, for his doctor or physio to say he should be out for 6 months and then suddenly he rocks up 3 weeks later, probably suggests he's kind of pushing his body a little bit further. But yeah, it's hard to back against Brooks at a major if he does come out and playing well.
I think I have a feeling with Brooks though, like if he was injured, he wouldn't play. Like he's won. What how many majors has he won?
Yeah, but he has 4 weeks of golf all year, really, for him that he actually cares about, and this is one of them. So, yeah, I think he probably is pushing his body more than it suggests. But obviously, he wouldn't be doing it if he kind of felt he was going to injure himself more. So maybe it's not as bad as it sounds.
Yeah, no, Brooks is definitely one to keep because obviously we know he's got the pedigree. Cantley, I agree with you. Bit worried about his more recent form, although he was playing. I think he was one of the best players who didn't get through basically in terms of strokes gained.
No, definitely. I know he's playing really well at the match play.
The match play, sorry, yeah. But then you've got the missed cut, and he was sort of coming into form around the players, I think. Yeah. And then he didn't play so well. I'm not sure where. Did he come 15th at the players? Or did he miss the cut at the players?
Pulled out of a tournament. I can't remember which one it was. It's quite a big event. I can't remember for life of me which one it was when he was kind of playing well. So maybe there could be a slight injury in there. But I like what I kind of saw kind of about a month ago. And I think the course does suit him as well. He's quite a solid player. And at 22-1, it is certainly something I'll be thinking about from the off.
You know what surprised me with the strokes gains numbers, probably more than anything, was how good his short game is. 9th around the green and 25th putting.
Yeah, no, he's a very good putter. Very good putter.
So yeah, the around game will definitely come in handy, and he's obviously been playing well recently at the Masters. So yeah, he'd definitely be one to think about for me. And I agree with you, X just does not warrant that price considering he's won like one full field tournament in his career.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he just hasn't been playing as well recently. And yeah, his game normally relies on him making a lot of putts. So even though he has a good recent form at Augusta, I would leave him at 22s. Loads of players in this next section because there are so many at the top of the leaderboard at less than 12-1. So the 30s, Morikawa, Reed, Hovland. Colin obviously just coming off another big win at the WGC. Reed's also won this year. And Hovland never played here. We know that the debutant either has never won here or hasn't won here for ages. And his form's just sort of plateaued a bit. So he was really hot a month or so ago, but his last couple of starts he hasn't played so well. So I'm personally surprised to see him as short as 33. I sort of thought he'd join that group at around 40s, whose price has increased. So I'd probably be looking at Reed or Morikawa here rather than Hovland at these prices.
I think Collins, when you kind of look at the betting straight away, I think he's the one who's overpriced straight away at 30-1. You know, the guy doesn't need form to play well, as you can kind of see. Look, 68 is 43rd first, 41st, 56th, who knows? And you know, obviously didn't perform that well in November at the Masters, but it was his first time out, and people tend to kind of just gradually get better as they kind of play more there. So he's definitely one I'd look at. Whether he's good enough to kind of win 2 majors this early on in his career is another question, but 30-1, I definitely think that's a price to definitely back at. Reed obviously won there before, so clearly likes it. Pretty decent last time. Not the greatest form since he has won, is all I kind of would say on that. So I probably wouldn't be backing at 33s. And Hovland, yeah, debutant at the Masters, not playing that well really in the last kind of few weeks. I'll probably be leaving that well alone. You know, a few weeks ago I would have been saying to back that, but yeah, 33-1 is quite a short price for someone who's never played there before.
Yeah, The only thing I think Morikawa should probably be the same price as Brooks. I think he should probably be 25s. Yeah, I mean, you can just have a look at
in the category above, probably with X and Cantley, I'd say.
Yeah.
Fourth player in the world, won big events already. I think 4 or 5 times already in kind of 2 years. So yeah, definitely warrants being a much shorter price than he is.
Yeah, the only thing is his Augusta form. He's only played there once, which was in November, and came 44th, which is nothing.
No one plays that well straight out the gate. So I know Im kind of goes against that as well, second kind of straight away. But I think if you probably look at over the years, people very rarely kind of come out and play well at Augusta straight away. It's very much a course you need some experience at. So he's obviously had a sighter in November. And I think he'll go a lot better than that 44th this week.
Yeah, the only reason I mentioned that is because he very much favours a fade off the tee, like quite a big fade. Yeah. And Augusta favours someone who hits it the other way, so hits a draw.
DJ hits a big fade.
DJ hits a big fade, but he can also he doesn't rely on it so much, I don't think, as Morikawa. Morikawa is whatever tee shot he hits, he hits it from left to right, and he hits it quite a long way from left to right, whereas DJ will hit it a bit straighter. The only reason that I would say that it's different for DJ compared to Morikawa is that we know DJ can play well here. We just don't know that with Morikawa yet.
I mean, that's why he's the price he is. But certainly be taking that risk that he kind of find that form.
Yeah, no, I would definitely think about it as well. And obviously he's won some big tournaments already in his career. So then we have we can probably just mention these all together, I guess. I'll start. So out of these ones, I think we've sort of mentioned it this morning, and I really like Berger at these prices. He's 15th ranked player in the world. He's in really solid form. His fourth last start, he won at Pebble Beach, which was really impressive. And then he's been really consistent since. He actually played really well at the match play. His strokes gain numbers were really good. He just didn't advance. His record at Augusta, he hasn't played for I think 2 or 3 years. He didn't play in November, and I don't think he played the year before, and maybe the year before, because obviously he wasn't in such good form. But since the restart, he's been in great form. One of the best players in the world, and actually before he started playing well again, when he was playing at Augusta, he was playing consistently. So he's had a top 10. And then he's been doing all right, 32 and 27th. I think he played one time before that as well, and he also made the cut then. So he's obviously quite likes Augusta. The only thing that worries me is his around the green game. But I think if you just miss a green, you either need to hole a 10-footer or a 12-footer. Or you need to stick it right next to it. And I think he maybe will hit it to 12 feet and then hole it, because his putting is really good. So I think that sort of cancels that out. And obviously he's really solid off the tee, and his irons are good as well. So as you can see, 8th total strokes gained of anyone in their last 50 rounds. So I think Berger is a big price here at 40s, and we know he wins. He's won now twice since the restart. I think he's got the bottle, and I would be surprised to see him melt down on the back nine on Sunday, unlike a lot of the other people in this sort of range.
Yeah, I think there are probably 2 winners in that category for me. Berger, as you kind of mentioned there, and probably Webb as well. At 40s, not playing amazingly well at the moment, but pretty decent Masters form, 10th and 5th kind of last 2 years, 20th as well. Just an all-round kind of solid player, and I feel that is kind of what you need at the Masters as well, is kind of just keep fairways, greens, keep the big numbers off your scorecard, and you'll kind of be there come Sunday. So I think 40 to 1 is a pretty fair price in him, and to kind of I think probably Berger up as well from what you've got there. I think it's probably where your winner's going to come from anyway. Then kind of touch on probably Scheffler and Casey as kind of each way bets. I think Scheffler, he's playing very, very well at the moment. I think he started well last week, but I think he was just tired after kind of 5 days of golf. at the match play before. Played very well at the match play. Was very impressed by him there. Obviously went close at the US Open last year when Colin won, I think. That was quite impressive. You know, he's obviously got that kind of major capability. 19th, kind of his first time there as well. That's a pretty decent go for your first time. So I think Scheffler kind of as an each way shout is pretty good. In case he obviously loves the Masters, he's always kind of there. Pretty good form at the moment, all round kind of solid game. Yeah, and he'll give you an each way shout come Sunday as well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think we pretty much think the same things on this sort of group. So yeah, I think Webb and Berger at 40s are the two I would take. And then Scheffler and Casey I like as well. I do worry that Scheffler's played a lot of golf because he obviously made the cut last week. I was surprised that he even played after he lost in the final to Horschel at the match play.
Yeah.
But yeah, he didn't have a great. He had his really bad second round, I think, was it?
Very bad second round.
Yeah, but he still made the cut and then finished off coming 54th. So that probably wouldn't have helped him too much. The irons do worry me with Scheffler. Obviously, 95th there is the second worst out of any of these players. But he did play well last time in his first start, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him go close. And as he said, he's got the major pedigree already playing well when Colin won. Casey, I really like this week. Up until the match play, which is where he came 28th, he was pretty much playing as well as anyone. I think the event before that, 12th, 5 weeks ago, he won in Dubai. So yeah, those 5 before the match play and the stroke play, he hadn't finished outside the 12th and had a win. So outside of 12th and had a win. So missed the cut 2 years back. Didn't play so well in November. But before that, I think he came 6th, 4th, 6th, and then 15th in the 4 years before that. So we know he can play well here. And I feel like this is sort of a similar sort of, this would be a sort of Sergio Garcia win if Casey won this week. Never won a major. That sort of pedigree. And yeah, I think he's clearly got the game to fit. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes close, but probably a bit surprised if he won. But obviously that's you're taking when he's 45-1.
Yeah, I mean, I think you wouldn't be surprised to kind of see him there Sunday and kind of fade away toward the end, as kind of tends to happen with him, and it's happened here in the past. But yeah, I mean, 45-1 on the guy who's probably maybe top 5 form players at the moment in the world. He's a fairly good price. So yeah, I mean, as a small win or an each way shout, I think that's a pretty fair price.
Cool. So yeah, these are obviously the top 21 players in the field in terms of odds. There are a couple that are probably worth mentioning. I'm just looking at going down odds checker at the moment in terms of bigger odds that would probably be more each way selections. Adam Scott, previous winner here, is 66-1. I'm not sure what his recent form is, but he obviously won here and has played well here. He's got the game. He's played well at Riviera as well, which is a comp course. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see him play well again. Neiman at 66-1 as well, and Bubba at 66-1 as well. Neiman, good young player, played well this year. Couple of seconds at the start of the year. Bubba obviously won here twice before, and we know that it's a good course for people who are specialised Augusta players. Kev, any from your side?
Yeah, just looking at kind of now quickly, I'd probably say Hatton at the 50s. I think that's a massive price. The guy's playing really well. I think if you look at the world rankings, I was trying to figure out who the 8th sort of ranked player in the world was. I think that must be Hatton, I'd assume. So yeah, I mean, 50-1 on him is a very, very good price. Not playing great at the moment, but certainly worth a go at 50s. Matt Wallace, after last week, played very well. Was quite impressed. Faded away kind of on the back nine at 100-1. I think that's worth a few pounds at each way. And then a bigger price one would be Cameron Champ at 200-1. I think, of course, he's obviously a very, very long hitter. I think he's probably second to Bryson on tour in terms of length, and obviously length is a massive advantage round them. Augusta. So yeah, 200 to 1 on him. Obviously, probably not in great form, not played massively at the Masters before, but 200 to 1, it's worth maybe an each way shout if you want a big one.
Yeah, I like Hatton as well, and Garcia as well, also 50 to 1. I know that probably seems a bit short, but he's playing. He's playing very well. If that was, I was expecting that to sort of get to maybe 60, maybe 66, something like that. But 50 seems a bit short. But I think that, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually, really went close. Obviously, won here as well before. A couple of bigger ones, as you mentioned, Champ. Also, Lanto Griffin, 200 to 1 seems a big price. He's playing very consistently at the moment. Missed the cut last time, but a lot of people have won off of a missed cut or Augusta. And also Ryan Palmer at 150 to 1 hits the ball right to left, and I think is the 25th ranked player in the world. And you're getting 150 to 1 on him. So game should suit Augusta, and it seems like a big price at 150 to 1. Cool. Well, I hope we'll release tips on Wednesday probably. We'll sort of have a discussion and finalise who we're going to back and stuff. I hope everyone has a successful week and enjoys Augusta.